So, that's nice. We can accept that that might be true. We can even agree. We can nod our head and go, okay, Clay, it's really nice. But what do we do about it? How do we begin? How do we begin to identify where these mindsets, where these belief systems are? And how do we begin to break them down? We're going to go ahead and jump over to page 17. Okay? Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, before we do, I'm sorry, we're already on 17. Let's take a look at 17. T. Harv Eker, the quote down at the bottom. Rich people believe I create my life. Poor people believe life happens to me. Oh, that's huge. We tend to take on, if we're not careful, this idea of, yes, my life isn't turning out really the way that I wanted it to, but we begin to point fingers. It's because of this person, it's because of that situation, it's because something's lacking in me. We begin to point things around. And there's always a reason. And usually those reasons are out of our control, unfortunately. We keep waiting for the situation to change. If this situation would change, things would be so much better. Okay? So, what I'd like to do on page 18, I've got a few boxes here. We're going to take a moment. I have found in my own life, as I've talked to other people, and then across the country, as I've spoken to people, and then throw in a few books that I've read, that each one of us have usually one or two very familiar negative voice in our head. And it's been a voice that we've been hearing for years. And every time we want to expand and move into the next level, and we want to dream of what our life can be, this voice comes up. I've heard from other people, these voices sound something like, it'll never happen to you. You're not smart enough. Just talking to a client yesterday, Clay, I've never thought I was smart enough for that to happen. Because I struggled in school, I never really thought I'd be smart enough. I've got a few of them written here somewhere. That yeah, they're on the next page. Or it sounds like, I had this happen in a relationship, and therefore it's not going to happen for me in the future. You're not smart enough. You don't have enough money. You wouldn't be able to handle it if it happened. You're not good enough. You don't come from the right side of town. Any of that sound familiar? Okay? Question for you is, I want you to identify what is that familiar negative tape that you hear. When you think of, oh, my dreams, da, 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 and you just start into the song, and somebody comes in, nope, we're not going to do that. And that thought shuts you down. What is that thought that you hear often that shuts you down? What's that phrase that goes on in your head? I'm not organized enough. I have no time management. Could be a phrase that you heard somebody say to you a long time ago. You've heard stories before of people's elementary school teachers saying something to them at an early age, and then now here they are, 40, 50 years old, and they're going, I'm still hearing my elementary school teacher saying this. I had one of my clients that tapped into that one time. It's like, oh my gosh, it's my third grade teacher. I've been carrying that voice around, and it has been limiting my life.
Grandma, she has always said this. She even found a magnet that says this, but it always sticks out in my head that you make plans and God laughs. Like there's just,
See? And obviously, Grandma is not waking up in the morning going, how can I run the life of Tierra today? It's just belief systems that they've had that they're passing on. It just happens, and we pick them up. But it's very important for us to be able to identify what are these voices. People don't like me. I'll never be popular because people don't like me. I'll never be able to lead people because no one wants to follow me. I'll never be successful because I don't have good ideas. I mean, there's just all kinds of stuff in there. Okay? But the first thing is we need to identify what is the one or two phrases that continually and consistently shut us down. Number two, would you like to see that picture change? Would you like to shut that voice up? The question here is, what would your life be like if that voice was gone? What would that do for you? Go ahead and write something down. It would be good. Okay, well, explain. What do you mean by that? What would be good about that if you were able to shut that voice down? And again, if we're not careful, this is where you can sit here right now and you're looking at me and smiling at me and you're going, yeah, Clay, what would it be like? I'm not even going to think about what that would be like because it's never going to shut down. And so I don't want to get my expectations up and think that it's going to be different because it's not. It's going to be just like, that's that old belief system, that old wiring that is keeping you from being able to even consider the possibility that maybe life could be different.
I can't even think of a thing that a negative voice that I
Okay.
so I can't get to that.
All right, that's all right. It'll come up. I promise. As we move forward, it'll come up. Because we'll be talking in times in the future. We'll be talking about stuff. And I promise you that there will be a reason in your brain why this can't happen. And I'll go, oh, well, tell me a little bit of that. Well, I've always thought, it's like, there it is. Or I've always heard, or something like that. And you go, bam, there's something right there. And then finally, the last one, how do you think your life would change if you could actually have this new perception that I am smart enough. I am capable. I do have the talent. I do have the capacity. I do have the ability to do this. It's in me. It's in me. Most often, these beliefs systems have been built over a long period of time in our life. Certain ways of thinking, okay? Certain consistent experiences in our life that have caused us to think a certain way and to feel a certain way. Those circumstances have been pretty consistent in our life. The thoughts have led to feelings. The feelings support the thoughts, and the thoughts build the feelings. And so I am consistently, if I'm not careful, how I interpret that is, Clay, you don't understand. This is the way I think. And my life experiences have consistently confirmed that this way of thinking is correct. Just consistently. And what happens is we come to the conclusion that this is true. Because I imagine right now, Julie, that if we were to take a lot of your belief systems and talk about it, we go, do you believe that these beliefs are true? Of course you would say, yes, I believe they're true. That's why they're beliefs. If I didn't think they were true, then I wouldn't hang on to them. But we think that they are true. But unfortunately, most of the beliefs at this age that we are carrying around with us are circumstantial truth with a lowercase t. Truth of circumstances. I'm unhappy. Okay, that might be true. I don't have enough money right now. Okay, that might be true. I've got bad hair. Okay, might be true. I'm not this enough. Okay, that might be true. I'm overweight. I'm not in shape. All of these things may be true, lowercase t. My job doesn't give me enough money. That might be true, lowercase t. But just because it is a circumstantial truth does not mean that it is the truth about you. And so what we are going to begin to do is begin to, one at a time, exchange circumstantial truth for, capital T, what is true about you. Because circumstances have caused me to come up with a belief system that says I'm stuck in this box. Even though I keep hearing this voice, there's more. Yes, got more for you. There's more inside of me than I've tapped into yet. Yeah, but it could never happen for me. Oh, but there's more. And we live in this state of tension and frustration. Oh, how come it's not happening? Anybody know what I'm talking about? You know? And over time, eventually, that tension, you'll get sick of the tension. And so what you will do is you will actually, this happens a lot, you will actually completely disconnect to that voice. And you will settle, this is how my life's going to be from here on out. And you've probably talked to people like that before. They're completely unhappy with where they are, and you're trying to encourage them, but no matter what you say, no matter what you do, you can't get to it. They're too insulated by years and years and years and years of disappointment and lack of fulfillment in their life. Happens quite a bit. Is that fair enough? Okay? So, what we want to do is delineate between circumstantial truth and what is the truth about you. And this is where this whole idea of a truth wall comes from, for me. Is we are going to build an actual physical truth wall made up of things that are capital T truth about you. About this person that's out here. Not what's going on in here, but what that person is. Because just like a seed for a redwood tree. You ever seen a seed for a redwood tree? Okay? They're about this big. But everything for that redwood tree to grow 150 feet tall is in that seed. Everything it needs is in that seed. All we need to do with that seed is find good soil to put it in and nurture it to allow it to grow up. But everything is in it. So what I'm going to say to you, Julie, everything is already there. It's already there. Everything you need is already there. You don't have to add more stuff to it. It's already there. No, it's not, Clive. Yes, it is. Don't let that belief system shut you down. It's all there. We just have to find good soil to put it in and nurture it over a period of time. Fair enough? You guys okay with this so far? So, what we need to do is start identifying what the capital T truth is for you. Now, I'm not going to get into, at this point, the large philosophical question of what is truth. Okay? However, if I ask you, Kyle, where do you go to find truth? You probably have an answer for that. Okay? You've probably got an answer. If you don't have an answer for that, then we need to have a phone call. Okay? But I'm sure you have a source of where you go to find truth. And probably at this point, your best friend, you have learned, is not the best place to go for the ultimate truth in your life. Because one day it's this, and the next day it's this, and it's kind of can shift on you. So the question for you is, where do you go to find the capital T truth about who you are and what your future is going to look like? Okay? Okay, wherever you go. Just want you to identify this. Okay?